I was in a huge room, bigger than any I have seen in my real life, much bigger than the meeting room in the German Der Reichstag, much taller than anything I have ever seen. When I looked up at the roof, it seemingly just ended in nothingness after towering several hundred meters above me. It was a rectangular room with the two longest sides being the one I was on and the other opposite of me. There was no floor. It also stretched for a few hundred meters, ending in a black, seemingly bottomless light-sucking abyss. It was as if the darkness reached out from the abyss and clawed its way up the sides of the wall. I was standing on a platform on one of the widest sides of the room. The platform had a railing and the railing stopped just in front of me, with enough space for a human to pass through casually. If you walked through, you would fall down though, because the footing of the platform ended just there. There was the same kind of platform and a door opposite of me. On the walls in the same height as the platforms were a lot of bookshelves made out of polished dark wood. They were spanning the entire circumference of the room. The only way for me to get to the other side would be by climbing on the bookshelves. Mind you, I was only wearing my underwear, the same I was wearing when I went to sleep actually. I decided that I wouldn't get anywhere by just standing around on this platform, and so I climbed over the railing and started crawling across the polished, smooth surface of the bookshelves. There were no books in the bookshelves, but there was a lot of gray, sealed letters. I don't know why I didn't open any of them. When I reached the bookshelves of the opposite wall, I noticed a small wooden bowl. In the bowl was a small clay doll with button eyes and a small dress made out of patchwork felt in blue and purple colors. I looked at the door by the platform and I noticed a very small keyhole. In my mind at that point in time, it seemed obvious where the key was. So I tore this clay doll apart and found 3 very small rusted keys. 2 of them were broken, but one of them was not, and I was certain that the one left untouched would be the one that fit in the lock. As soon as I gripped after the key, I felt my footing slip and I fell on my back down into the abyss. Yet again, my mind, as if it were a cheap slide projector, simply put another dream on. This is the second most terrifying experience of that night. My dream was that I woke up. I was lying on my side in the bed with my eyes closed. No matter how hard I tried, I could not open my eyes. My eyelids were simply too heavy. I even tried opening my eyes with my fingertips, but I could not slide the lids up. I reached for the switch to my bedside bright halogenous lamp and flipped it. Instantly I could sense that something was wrong. Even though my eyelids were closed, I could still perceive my room, but it wasn't brightly lit as if by my lamp, but rather there was a very soft light coming from behind me, veiling the room in a sort of grayish twilight white light. The most unsettling thing though, is the shadows dancing on the wall opposite of my bed in the direction I was facing. The walls were completely black against the grayish white wall, jumping up and down. It's kind of silly now, but they would be the complete mirror image of a classic devil horns and a pitchfork, 3 of them jumping up and down on the wall. I felt cold sweat all over my body and I started shaking. I sort of panicked, and I fumbling reached for the switch of my lamp. When I hit it though, the shadows kept dancing, and with the loudest bang I've heard for a while, my door burst open and I saw a tall pitch black man in a trench coat with a matching huge hat that shrouded his black face in the already apparent darkness of the hallway outside of my room. Even though I am Danish and that also being my main language, I heard the man yell at me, "The crows are hungry." With this I woke up, my body covered in sweat and me breathing heavily. I was almost afraid when I reached for the switch on my lamp and flipped it on. This time it worked and I was back in my world of light. I was up for a couple of minutes and drank some water, then I decided to go back to sleep. At this point the time was 3:26 a.m. I know this because I checked my phone soon after I woke up. No more nightmares followed, and I first woke up at 11 a.m. later that day to the front door opening. It was my parents coming home with a couple of bags. I asked them where they had been and they told me when you fell asleep yesterday we didn't dare wake you even though we had plans to visit your brother. Turns out they had slept over at his place because it snowed so much that night. To this day I wonder who it was underneath my parents' duvets, and I wonder if the crows are still hungry.